What's up, everybody? We're back. Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. We're bringing unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams, the collegiate and professional level. It's been a minute since we've done one of these. I'm your host, Chase Yance. To my right is Brady King. What's going on with you, Brady?
Man, I've just been thinking about New Year's Eve for the past, ever since we got selected into the show or into the playoff. Man, can't wait. I have a lot of hope. I'm not going to say my prediction right now, but I just have a lot of hope. Really excited to just break that down and just talk about this game and the whole playoff in general. And I'm just ready to roll, man. That's all I can say.
Got that right. We're going to talk.
And I got this Marvin Harrison jersey.
Ooh, I like it.
Got the
I like it.
White one for the playoff.
All right. Yeah, looking fresh, though. I like that. Shoot.
Oh, my God.
All right. Then we got down in the right. Can't see his face, but we got Matt Ricketts on the panel tonight. What's up with you, Matt?
What's up, guys? I'm excited to be back. Sorry to everybody watching. I got a little technical difficulties tonight with my laptop camera, so we're just going to rock with the voice, but I'm here. I'm ready to roll. I'm like Brady. I got a big white Mike Hall jersey, Mike Hall Jr. jersey for Christmas. So I'm going to be rocking that on New Year's Eve. I'm not rocking it right now, but I will be rocking it on New Year's Eve. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited. Kind of like Brady. I've got more optimistic throughout the weeks. The closer we get to the game, the more optimistic I become. So I guess we'll just see here. So I'm ready for tonight.
Gotta love it, man. I mean, I guess I didn't get the memo this Christmas because y'all both got Ohio State jerseys. I ended up getting, one of my favorite receivers in the NFL, Jamar Chase jersey. So, kind of different ways, but we're all celebrating our favorite teams and stuff. And then down at the bottom, we got, our guy coming back on the show to talk this big game. Mr. Kris Drew.
Oh,
repping
that
merch.
You had to spot the Cam Bab overcome hoodie.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I love
sir.
it.
Gotta love Christmas merch and everything about it, man. What's up with you, Chris?
Not much. Obviously, down in Columbus now. Really excited though about this game. Been studying my ass off for what feels like the last year and a half for this game, even though it's only been 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
But really excited. Looking forward to Saturday.
Got that right, man. And think about it though, like it's when we come in the next, in 2024 when the playoff expands to 12 teams and everything, we're not going to be having to wait a month for an entire game to come out. I mean, it's literally going to be 2 weeks and another 2 weeks and then the national championship and all. And I think it's good for, especially us getting Mayan Williams back. I know Trey's not playing, but getting Mayan Williams back and having time to get healthy over this stretch. Ohio State, Georgia, Saturday, 8:00 on ESPN. But just having those guys get healthy over that stretch and not having to play a playoff game 2 weeks from now and having that time to, get back and get, kind of the system and really know your opponent inside out. But Chris, what was the first thing that you looked at a long time ago when you saw this matchup come out?
Get healthy. My mind went to whatever year Michigan lost to Appalachian State.
07.
07.
Yeah, 2007. They ended up playing Florida, Heisman Trophy, Tim Tebow, Florida in the bowl game.
Yep.
And that Michigan team all year was not very good, but they also weren't very healthy.
Yep.
They got healthy during the bowl prep time, and they beat the brakes off of Florida, a really good Florida team, an Urban Meyer Florida team. That's Urban Meyer's only loss to Michigan. And so, for me, I'm like, okay, like that Michigan team had flashes, like you saw the talent, but then they got healthy, and then we saw a different animal. And it's like a secondary Christmas present. It's like, what are we unwrapping this time? Because all season, at least to my recollection, this was the most beat up Ohio State team that I'd seen. Kind of since I started following the sport really closely. So initially, my initial thoughts were, okay, we got Georgia. Don't love it. I think Georgia's the best team in the country. But, I know that the Ohio State team we saw against Michigan probably will be significantly different than the one we see against Georgia, given time and health and late in the year blooming and stuff like that. So that was my first thought going into it. Then my head went, okay, schematically, how do you stop Georgia? 2 tight ends, heavy run, Michigan on steroids. Like, how do you stop it? So, but first thought was, okay, Ohio State has a chance to get healthy.
Without a doubt. I mean, you look at it, over that course of time, 4 weeks, a lot can happen in 4 weeks, getting guys healthy, some guys, not able to play, but just you're able to formulate, a well game plan to, who's going to be playing, who's not and all that stuff. So that's a good thing. Brady and Matt, all three of us watched the selection show together. I know we were, everyone in, Buckeye Nation was excited that, we obviously made the playoffs and all that, got stuck with Georgia, we all were, all wanted that Michigan game and everything, but we could get that, later on. We definitely could. But Matt, outside of you, what was your initial thoughts? I could see your expressions on your face when we were all with each other, but what was your initial thoughts with the Georgia game being selected?
I was just happy. I mean, we all knew we were getting in, so it was relief just to see our name pop up. I guess is probably my first reaction. Yeah. I was a little surprised though. I didn't think that the committee would pass up on a ratings bonanza of Ohio State and Michigan in the first round. I was a little surprised, and also I was just surprised thinking about it now. I'll pose this question to you guys: do you think if USC would have won and TCU would have lost, do you think we get? I think they end up putting us. I think they still put us in over TCU. I think they purposely avoided the rematch for some reason, and I was really shocked by it. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, though even you know what I mean? I think even if USC would have won and TCU would have lost, they would have bumped us over TCU. But then in the scenario, they kept them at 3. I don't know. I was just a little surprised by it. So, I mean, obviously, I was relieved to get in. We're going to have to slay the beast, slay the monster anyway, so might as well just get it out of the way is kind of the way I've been looking at it or whatever. But I was surprised that they passed up on that Ohio State Michigan. I mean, that would be the most watched game maybe in college football history. So I was surprised.
I agree.
Yeah, and agree. Looking at it, the thing is, like, obviously they passed up on that matchup being a semifinal matchup. But with Ohio State's history of, in the first ever college football playoff, we took down the giant Alabama, and then we played the 2 seed in the national championship. Oh, wait, look who the 2 seed is this year. It's those guys up north. Now that would be an even bigger ratings grab right there. In the national championship out in SoFi, I mean, that would be incredible to see. Both teams going to Hollywood and playing. Obviously those 2 teams will be playing a couple games out in Hollywood every single year. For years to come, and a few years from now, but yeah. And then I'll get over to Brady. What were your initial thoughts? I know you were pretty excited. We were all pretty excited that Ohio State got in, but like, what was the first thing that you were thinking of when we got selected with Georgia?
So once we didn't get that 3, my first reaction, like Matt said, was just like relief to see our name up on the board. But second, honestly, was that this is actually, in my opinion, in terms of championship winning, this is the better path. Because to start out and get that month of preparation for Georgia, who is like just considered the best team in the nation by most people, like, I mean, you want to get that month of preparation instead of only 10 days or whatever it would be if we would have played Michigan. Let's say we beat Michigan, then you only have 10 days to prepare and try to win that championship game against Georgia. I personally would rather have a whole month to prepare for Georgia, and then after you beat Georgia, you prepare for a team that you already have played. And you already know the way they play. So in terms of championship winning, obviously, I actually think this is the better path for us. But in terms of winning the first playoff game and getting the championship, I do think this is the harder path. But I don't think it's a hateful matchup was also another thing I thought. So we'll get into that. But I really don't think it's a hateful matchup for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, look at it like. If you're able to slay the giant, then you're able to play a team like that. You've obviously seen before. You've got tape on them. You can literally go back and watch film of yourself. Be like, oh, we didn't do this well, but here we can, correct some of these things here or there, and just kind of move on from there. It'll still obviously be, your rival national championship game if that's the case. But I mean, I'm not gonna, hop over Georgia. Like I said, the best team in the country. What's a word or two that we would describe this Georgia football team with, Kris?
Violent and well-disciplined, super well coached all the way around, and they're a team that they don't miss any tackles at all, and you can really feel them like through the TV when they hit, and it's boom. Mm-hmm. They're physical, and they are a team that represents the personality of a guy like Kirby Smart.
Yeah, seems like there are a lot of pretty much every one of their players while tackling is like Tommy Eichenberg, like our one Tommy. Like everyone that is hitting uses that violent force that he's used this year, and you can just tell like to beat this team, you need to scheme something up. You really need to get into spots where you're getting away from tackles instead of like just straight up trying to out physical them might not work. So, like, yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with that. That might be the one thing.
So, you really feel them, man. Like
Right.
watching Georgia on TV just feels so different.
It does. It's the most you can watch them and say, well, yeah, that's the most violent defense in the country. It's pretty simple. Like I could watch. I don't think it's rather close in terms of just the straight up like force at which they hit. Because like even Bama, like some of their like DBs, I don't think are great tacklers. So that kind of takes away from their force because obviously they got Will Anderson and all those guys. Georgia, I don't think there's a single, or there might be a couple, but there's rarely any dudes on their defense that don't just lay the wood whenever they're squaring somebody up. They
wrap up and drive, and because of that, they don't miss any tackles. And so,
exactly,
like sometimes when you think there's like maybe like 3 or 4 extra yards per play, they'll kind of like
they drop that
contact dead. So they're a violent team. They're a tough team. And they, they're pretty simple defensively, schematic wise. And so those guys can really play twitched up and play super fast. And so you can really feel it. You can really see it. They remind me of some championship teams of past. So I mean, they're a fun defense to watch until you realize, oh crap, we have them next.
No, I agree with that for sure. That's the one disappointing thing about it is when you're watching their film, you're like, well, that's not going to be easy to play these guys.
Hot tub, ice chambers, masseuses. You got to get ready for all that before you play Georgia, and right after it's a whole event. Matt, what about you? What?
Not the Deshaun Watson thing.
Not the Deshaun. Yeah, no. That's a little too far. But
when I watch them, I just think they're fucking mean. They're just mean. They play. Violent's a good word too, but they just play mean. Or they swarm to the football is another thing. It's not always. It's rare that they miss a tackle, but when they do miss a tackle, they've got 2 or 3 guys already there, anyways. So you understand what I'm saying? They're coming. They're flying. Yeah. They play gang. They tackle as a gang. They play very good team football, and they got dudes on the outside that can just freaking lock people down. So I mean. The best way I can describe it is they just play fucking mean. They're just mean dudes, man.
Yeah, you got that right. And I mean, when we described what Georgia was like, I mean, we literally just talked about their entire defense. Yeah. Let's look. I want to take a look at their offense. I'm showing Ohio State's thing right here, but looking at Georgia. Look at that offense right here. I mean, Stetson Bennett threw for 3,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. We talked all about their defense, but what comes to mind with their offense? Like Stetson Bennett has improved over last season. Obviously, he had a national title where he made a couple of huge throws to get them, the trophy and everything. But he's come back and had a really strong season overall. Bennett has, and looking at the tight ends that they're able to throw to Ladd McConkey as well, and McIntosh, the running back. Just what's the state of this Georgia offense right now, Chris?
It is interesting because I believe they've dropped back more to pass than they have running the ball this year. So they're kind of like it kind of breaks the mold of what we kind of traditionally view Georgia as. Stetson Bennett is a good, not great quarterback. It's funny because he's really similarly in the mold of a guy like J.J. McCarthy, like good athlete, decent arm, can be inaccurate at times due to like inconsistent footwork. But he's a gamer and he gets through his reads pretty quickly. And he knows the offense like the back of his hand as he should. This is year 24 for him.
Got that right.
So a guy like Stetson Bennett is always going to be in complete command. And one of the things that I think is so beneficial to a guy like him is that like the moments are never too big. He's already been through all the moments.
Got that right.
And every moment. A good thing. In terms of tight ends, Brock Bowers is one of the 3 best tight ends in all college football. But they run a big priority of that offense through a guy like Darnell Washington, who is kind of used as the space creator. To have 2 tight ends over 400 yards receiving is kind of ridiculous at this point. And a guy like Darnell Washington to be 6'7", 250, 260 plus, be able to move like that, paired up with a guy like Brock Bowers, it creates such mismatch issues because those guys can block so well on the perimeter. So like the last thing you want, and the reason Kenny McIntosh is so good on kind of outside runs is because they get big 6'7", Darnell Washington running out there to go clobber a safety or a DB. Like if Jordan Hancock was out there, you wouldn't want to see him against Darnell Washington. If when Denzel Burke's out there, you don't want to see him versus Darnell Washington because that is such a smash point. And it's funny because they play offense like they play defense. They throw haymakers.
Yeah.
They'll make haymakers and they hit you, and they ask you to be physical at the point of attack. But I do kind of an extra point with these tight ends. These tight ends have been so good. They've kind of distracted away from the fact the tackles have been susceptible sometimes when they haven't been getting help. So, it is interesting. This offense is underrated. But if you're Ohio State, you want to drag them into deep waters. So shout out to Stetson Bennett for having a big time year. I believe he threw for more yards than our guy CJ Stroud. So
Oh yeah, he did. I believe he did.
More games though.
Not 100 more, but yeah, well, he played in 1 or 2 more games. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, like I said, Georgia's offense obviously it's laid under the radar this year. They've done, they've obviously been, an underrated offense. Just the defense is their personality. That's what everybody thinks of when you think of, when you think of the Bulldogs. They got that dog in them, as they say. But man, Brady and Matt, chime in on this. What's the Georgia offense thought? How about the running back Kenny McIntosh? What's the thought on him, and how do you think he might have a good day against Ohio State? What do you think's gonna happen?
I think when you look at this whole list of this whole group of players, including Kenny McIntosh, especially in their passing game, because in my opinion, their running game comes down to this: they just run the ball very similarly with all of them. They have a good offensive line that can run block, and they kind of just pound the ball and they just rotate those guys. Can they rotate Kenny McIntosh, Dejon Edwards, and Kendall Milton quite a bit in the running game? I really am a big fan of McIntosh. I think he's a good running back. I think he's a receiver as well, a good receiver as well, as you can see by his numbers receiving over there. But you can keep the rushing up because I wanted to touch on that as well. I think the top 3 running backs are all very good players. I actually think Edwards is the worst of 3. Dejon Edwards. I'm surprised he gets more carries than Kendall Milton, but big fan of Kenny McIntosh. Then receiving wise, you look at the stats, they don't seem all that amazing if you look at them individually. However, when they play good teams, they always seem to deliver. Ladd McConkey and number 5, Adonai Mitchell. I think he was hurt a lot of the year, but he had the game-winning touchdown in the Natty last year. I think those guys, when they need to, they step up. Every time I watch them for Georgia, the Oregon game, the LSU game, the Tennessee game, just to name a few, I've seen these receivers make some good plays. So I do think that they're a little better than their stats go in terms of just showing up at big moments. And
obviously, Rosemary Jackson kid too.
Yeah, for sure, he's a good player. I believe he actually heavily considered Ohio State at one point too, out of high school.
Yeah, once upon a time, but we loaded up with the guys with
Jackson. Yep. The only one I'd take him over might
baby George Pickens, big time blocker. There. I love him.
He looks like him too, a little bit like his frame.
Similar frame out of South Florida. That's a kid who can moss everybody. Strongest hands on the team.
Right.
I think he's honestly a better player than Ladd McConkey, but Ladd McConkey is also a guy that feels like he's been there forever. One of those guys who is.
Ladd McConkey is just the guy that gets the ball and you don't expect anything to happen, but he's so small that he'll shake somebody and you just don't expect it, and he'll run.
Yeah, and they use him as the Z primarily too. Even though he at one point in the year he was dropping 50% of his deep ball attempts. So
he's not a deep
hands, but good player, good solid player.
Yeah, that's really what this. When you look at this receiving core, it's so many solid players that aren't freaks in my opinion. There's no first round or Bolitnikoff level receiver in this room, but there's a bunch of I would say there's 4 or 5 solid, you can start them. They'll be reliable type of receivers that aren't bad players by any means. And then obviously this is the best tight end room I've ever seen. Maybe honestly, I don't know any other tight end room I've seen that's had 2 tight ends to this level.
Well, let me challenge you on that while we're here. Okay. You know why I'm here. Let me challenge you on
that.
Is this a better tight end room than 2017 Iowa?
Ooh, that's a good one. I got
another one that might. How about this? Jeremy Shockey and Kellen Winslow Jr. in 2001 Miami.
Oh yeah, 01 Miami might. Miami.
That's a good one.
That's a good one too.
01 Miami's got it.
That 2017 Iowa team, they had Noah Fant and T.J. Hawkinson.
It does. That's a great one too. That's a great one too. But I just think if I had to pick,
both guys were top 15, top 20 picks.
Yeah,
I think Hawkinson was top 10. I'm not too sure about.
Fant was. And the other one, he was 20. Yeah, Fant was 20. That is a great room.
Those dudes put up 55 single-handedly on Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think I might go with Iowa.
I want to ask you guys this.
I think I might.
Brock Bowers, obviously, best tight end in college football, hands down. We would all say,
I'd say
but
so.
who is who's the last good tight end? Like, who would you say, the last good tight end on Brock Bowers level was in the history of college football? Like, who, like, the most recent you would
Kyle
say?
Pitts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Kyle Pitts.
Brock Bowers isn't the freakish build of Kyle Pitts, but yes.
Yeah, they're different.
I'm trying to think of somebody of his.
T.J. Hawkinson probably before that, like was kind of.
Yeah.
It's the Utah tight end.
Dalton Kincaid. Like, you mean?
Is that him? Yeah, Kincaid. Okay.
Yeah.
You mean this year?
Yeah.
I do like that. I do like Kincaid a lot.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I go Hawkinson. Like, I think that Brock Bowers is Hawkinson and just a better offense.
Yeah. I think this is the thing about that. The thing, like, that game haunts me. Like, we just, to me, like, we've had trouble covering tight ends before this year a lot. Whenever we play against them, like, especially that Iowa game just haunts me. Like, I can't stop thinking about the T.J. Hawkinson scoring his what it feels like 8th touchdown, just dragging across the middle of the end zone, and Chris Worley Jr. trying to, like, find his gap and, like, looking around like what happened. And Jerome Baker. I mean, it wasn't his fault or anything, but just naming linebackers that were just, like, getting lost in that game.
But I think that's the struggle. When you go 3 linebackers and a team has 2 really athletic tight ends, like, someone's going to get put in a blender. Like, that's how it goes. But the Utah kid is on Brock Bowers' level, if I'm being completely honest. Okay. I mean, this year he went 70 for 890. He's 6'4", 240. He's going to run in the 4.5s. Like, he's also a freak show. It's just, like, less famous.
Yeah. No doubt.
But Brock is a freak, though. But to kind of the point about tight ends and, like, schematics, if I may, real quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny because, like, at least passing attack wise, this Ohio State defense is built to take away a secondary tight end. So, like, normally, like what I just said is like usually, like, with 3 linebackers, you're going to run into an issue because someone's going to be matched up if a team has 2 athletic tight ends. But Ohio State's 3rd linebacker is Ronnie Hickman, a safety.
Yeah.
So they can really do a lot of triangle stuff to kind of, like, limit tight ends. And then it's just about like instead of guys running free, it's about, like, tackling and, like, forcing Stetson Bennett to throw in tight windows. So I really do like 3 safeties against 2 good tight ends as long as one of them doesn't get washed away and run fit. And that's kind of the struggle and the danger with it. But in terms of defending those tight ends, I really like Ronnie Hickman's chances. But that's probably just me, considering half the fan base is calling for Sonny Styles or Josh Proctor to kind of take the lead.
Yeah, I think that the people that are saying that don't think about the fact that, like, Sonny Styles didn't even get reps against some of these worst teams like Rutgers, like hardly. Like, the only game where it seemed like he played significant snaps was Wisconsin. And
yeah, it was weird because I thought he played really well against Wisconsin, and I thought they had one, and then for them to kind of pull off kind of confused me a little bit. But at this point of the season, like, all your freshmen are basically sophomores. So, I mean, he could maybe, but I don't really want Sonny Styles' first taste of blood to be against Brock Bowers. To be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, taking this, they're just trying to take this time to be like, they might, who knows, they might have saw something in practice. I don't have any insight, but they might have saw something in practice, something like that. Just be like, you know what, kind of hold off. He's still going to be a great prospect that we obviously picked up. So just maybe see what happens there. And Chris, you almost read my mind. We're going to get right into matchups to watch. What is a matchup that has you preferably licking your chops over?
Licking my chops if I'm an Ohio State guy, like what I'm
any side of the ball.
I do think the advantageous matchup if you are Ohio State is Kelee Ringo versus Marvin Harrison Jr. Kelee Ringo only lines up on one side of the field the entire game. Kirby doesn't do the shadowing. They don't try to do anything complex pre-snap because they keep it simple so guys can play fast, can play hard. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but Georgia's starting free safety is a true freshman.
Yeah, Malachi Starks.
Malachi Starks, number 1 athlete in the country. Like, really gonna be a day 1 guy, like a really phenomenal player, but still a freshman. It's interesting because, like, Kelee Ringo's heralded as this, like, all everything corner. But when you watch him, like, he is the most famous corner I've ever seen that requires as much help as he does. they always shade Malachi Starks to his side to help with anything over the top. And so a lot of times what you see is like the only time teams have been able to have success is when they put Malachi Starks in conflict, because he has to help Kelee Ringo so often deep. What we saw from LSU a lot was a streaker and then someone come underneath of it, like a basic levels concept, but where the safety would be there if it's a true lockdown corner, he's not there because he's running deep with Ringo. So that's how LSU was able to kind of clear out an attack. So what that means is that, like, I think, or personally, I would test Kelee Ringo's jaw early and often, test his jaw, test his cardio, test his coverage skills. That way you can put Malachi Starks in kind of conflict. Additionally, what that means is, like, what I'm looking at is, like, can Ryan Day confuse Starks? Because even on run plays, like, instead of trying to have our receivers block because they've done a bad job with that, have them run somebody off.
Right.
That's all LSU did. LSU, several times, they were able to run the ball a little bit because they were able to keep Malachi Starks away from the box. And that's important because, like, Georgia's edge guys are not very good, no matter how you slice it. So a lot of their edge support comes from Malachi. So it's like, for me at least, I'm looking like if Ohio State can pick on Kelee Ringo early and often with Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is an alien and literally built to play receiver, they'll have a real chance to keep this offense, A, on schedule, B, in rhythm. And warm weather in rhythm, CJ Stroud is so incredible. Like, cold weather, I don't know. But warm weather and in rhythm, like, that's when you could turn this into what I think Ohio State needs to win, a track meet. So that's the matchup that I'll be looking at. And that's the matchup that a lot of NFL scouts will be looking at. Kelee Ringo versus Marvin Harrison Jr.
Got that right. Yeah. Best on best, strength on strength. I mean, when you're talking about some of those concepts, like kind of the dagger concept, I'd say, just kind of running a guy in the seam, taking away the safety up top, and then running, one-on-one dig route underneath, like just having Kelee Ringo work and move any way possible and on a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. And there's not many guys, if any guys, like Marvin Harrison Jr., like, in college football history.
And the guy doesn't get a lot of love. It's funny because, like, everyone knows Kelee Ringo. Like, everyone, he's so incredibly famous for, to me at least, I think it's just a regular cover 3 corner, like nothing super special.
Yeah.
The guy that, like, is not a good matchup, who like the better corner on that team, the better DB, is Kris Smith.
Oh, 100%. He's the best safety that I've seen in college football.
Like, he's better in coverage. Like, he's better in the slot. Like, he's better against everybody. They kind of cross-train him. He plays a lot of slot corner and then safety as well. Like, Kris Smith is better. He's better in coverage. So I really don't love, like, a Mecca on him, but, like, I love the matchup of Marvin Harrison and a Mecca kind of rotating and testing Kelee Ringo's jaw.
Yeah, I think when you look at Kelee Ringo and Kris Smith, Kelee Ringo is just kind of – Kris Smith is the one out of those two that can change the game. He can take a pick six back to that. And I say that knowing that Kelee Ringo had the pick six to win the championship, but that's just because Bryce Young threw it right to him. Like, he didn't really do anything.
And because the guy that had him in a blender tore his ACL.
Exactly.
And that first time around,
put up 180 on him.
Killing that boy.
Oh, he was
killing him.
Yeah, he was in the dust. That was kind of the game where I kind of found out that Kelee Ringo was I'm not going to say he's like a bad corner, but he's a fraud compared to what they say he is. I don't think he's as good as Clark Phillips from Utah.
Not
at all. No, not close. Clark Phillips is a stud. Like, he literally picked off CJ that one time. He beat Julian Fleming to his own spot on the route.
Clark Phillips is unreal, man. That's like,
I think he's the best corner.
That's an NFL player like today.
Yeah.
There's a lot more holes. There's a lot more holes in Kelee Ringo than everybody thinks. And, a guy like Marvin Harrison, will be able to expose those, hopefully. You get the one-on-one matchup, it's probably wraps, as long as he's not getting the ball out and everything.
Yeah, the better DB. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how that matchup goes. Brady, what about a matchup for you? And I'll get to Matt in a second. But what's your matchup?
So honestly, my biggest matchup, and this is not even that uncommon to say, but I'm going to go with Donovan Jackson versus Jalen Carter because, everyone's wondering about, the main disruptor of the Georgia defense, the guy inside, probably going to be a top 2 to 3 pick, depending on who gets that second.
Best player in college football, best at his job at least.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's probably the best overall prospect in this draft, in my opinion. I think if we can, at least slow him down, and if Donovan Jackson, who will be on him a lot, according to where Jalen lines up a lot, and so will Matt Jones, Luke Weifler, and every one of the offensive linemen, depending on like what the concept is. So for like down blocking or whatever, even Paris Johnson might get a shot at him. But I think Donovan Jackson is like he's our strongest offensive lineman. He benches the most on the team. Yep. So if anybody's gonna at least, I'm not even saying we have to move Jalen Carter. At least stand him up and keep him where he is. That could be huge in terms of our run game and even pass game because he can disrupt that. If we can run the ball, if we can get him, if we let him not penetrate like he usually does, and we can actually run the ball, for 4 to 5 yards a carry, and then obviously I think we won't. I'm assuming we're going to be able to pass the ball, decent enough to at least move the ball. If we can run the ball like that, I think that gives us a great shot to score the amount of points we need to. Which I believe I saw that on your show, actually, Chris. The 30-point mark is like the magic number.
30-point mark is the magic number for Ryan Day and company.
Love it. And that's awesome because I feel pretty confident that with a month to prepare, those last 2 times we had a month to prepare, even though the first time we didn't, it didn't end how we wanted it to against Clemson. Yeah. The second time, it was 49 points we put up on the, I think they had the number 1 yardage defense in America at that point. I like our chances. That's all I'm going to say. That's why.
I mean, 30 points is the analytic break point. Usually if Ryan didn't get to 30, like the floodgates open.
Right.
So,
yep. Which just makes me even like at first, I'm going to lie, I didn't have much hope. Just because it was so close to that Michigan game, it was only 8 days after. I was just sitting there, like, just remembering that game. And then just the more and more I think about it and the more and more, like, I watched the film. I've watched every Georgia game this year. Not the whole game, but I've watched at least the highlights of every Georgia game to, just to watch what they're good at and stuff. And, like, they're a great team, deserve that number 1 spot, but they're not unbeatable.
Yeah, but they're not perfect.
They're not perfect.
No,
they're not last year's Georgia team. Not quite.
They're not fucking LSU. I'll tell you that. But yeah, Matt. What's your thoughts? What's your matchup that you're looking at for Saturday?
I think the matchup that position group wise that I think we have an edge in is the defensive line against their offensive line. I think watching some of the coaches' breakdowns a little bit, I think there's been times where they have been susceptible in the pass rush, especially coming off the edge with guys like JTT, and Zach Harrison, our defensive ends especially. But also, I think you're going to see more of Michael Hall and Tyleek than we've seen throughout the year, I guess. I mean, they've only played 10, 15 snaps a game or so. I just can't imagine we don't play them more than what we've been playing them. Does that make sense?
Mike Hall said on the Zoom availability today that he's 100% healthy now and his body can go.
Exactly 100% healthy. So yeah. I just feel like I'm kind of trying to figure out what I think Georgia's offensive game plan is going to be coming into the game. I think what they want to do is they want to run the football and go play action off of it. I think that's just their hallmark. But in their biggest game of the year against Tennessee, they came out extremely aggressive through the air, kind of just started taking shots down the field, big plays early. I think they were up 17-0 or 14-0. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but regardless, they got a 2 or 3 score lead, and then they just kind of got into what they wanted to do, and it ended up being a lower scoring game than what it looked like it was going to be towards the early on. So, I just feel like our defensive line is going to be – they're going to be eating up the gaps well enough to where they're not just going to be able to pound us on the ground, So they're going to have to beat us through the air. And like we said, like Chris brought up earlier, the triangling, the tight ends, playing 3 safeties against really athletic tight ends gives us a chance. So I really, really think our defensive line is going to be huge in terms of just being able to slow down what they want to do as a whole on offense, because everything plays off of each other. If they come out, start running the ball, pounding it on us, then they go play action. Then they can drop back. They can do all the things they want to do off of it. I think it just the basis of what Georgia wants to do, what Kirby Smart wants to do offensively, is run the ball. So I think that this defensive line is going to be able to stalemate it for us. I really do.
It's a good point. Really good point.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you look at, this kind of rolls in perfectly to the next, to the next part of this. Keys to success. So you have to say, I'm going to give each of you guys one key to success, okay? And it's like Ohio State will win if they do this. What they will win if they do what, Chris?
Huh. If they have no negative plays on first down, they're going to win the game.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. I love a soundbite answer. Keep the soundbite answers going. Brady, what about you?
Ohio State will win the game if they force at least one turnover.
Huh?
Okay.
Force turnover.
Right.
Just force turnovers.
No negative plays on first down. Force at least one turnover. Matt, that's trifecta. What do you got?
Ohio State will win if they score touchdowns on 75% of their red zone possessions.
That's a great one.
All right.
That's a good one.
All right. That's trifecta.
Bring them back to 2019.
You win.
That's how you win big games.
Yep. Right. And that's Ohio, good. I'll make mine basic. Ohio State will win.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
You're good. Ohio State will win if CJ Stroud throws 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
All right.
That's good too. Right. I just think you get me 3 out of 4 times they get in the red zone and score touchdowns. I think.
Yeah. You got to cash in 7. You can't take 3 every time. You got to cash in 7.
No, I'm not saying if we come down, get the ball in the first drive of the game and you get a field goal, like that shit's going to happen throughout the game. But you know what I mean? A percentage wise, I think it's a good number.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say Ohio State will win if they score 75%, score touchdowns on 75% of their drives. I was going to say it's probably a good little.
That's a good job, Captain Obvious. But yeah, I love the red zone right there. I love the red zone percentage. That's huge. I've been paying more attention to that in the NFL and all that stuff. But both college and NFL, like the better teams in in the country are better offenses are obviously some of the best red zone teams in the nation or in leagues and stuff like that.
It's huge, man. The field shrinks. Like,
yep.
Great teams aren't always going to give up the big chunk touchdown plays. Like, you got to be able to move the ball down the field, and when you get inside the 20, you got to be able to capitalize. That was the Achilles heel in the Clemson game in 2019. We got in there, had touchdown opportunities, ended up kicking field goals. I mean, it just sucks.
Yeah, it does. It just shrinks the field, and kind of. There's sometimes where you're kind of limited on some things what you can do on offense and stuff like that. But if you have matchups that you like a Marvin Harrison versus a Keely Ringo, you're able to take advantage on some of those things. Or if you're doubling, you could have a guy like Cade Stover go across the middle and pitch and catch a touchdown. You can, you can run the football if you need to. There's a lot of different things that you can do.
Running back in the pass game is so important.
Yes, exactly.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins dropped a touchdown against Clemson. That was fucking killer.
2 touchdowns. He dropped 2.
Yeah. I know, dude.
The one he only dropped the one by rule because he went down with it like this, and technically the ball barely moved when it hit the ground. So that was more of a by rule. But the other one he just dropped the slip screen.
I just don't want to talk about it. Fuck
it. Yeah, we won't talk about that. We'll actually talk about the first playoff game that's being played at 4:00 on that day. TCU's playing Michigan. They're going out to was it the Verbo Fiesta Bowl now? They've kind of changed the name a couple of times. PlayStation, Tostitos. They've gone through a couple of different sponsors and ads and everything, and now Verbo has it. It's like some of these bowl games though. Think about it, like the Sun Bowl was changed to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. The Cheez-It Bowl. There's 2 Cheez-It Bowls now, or whatever it is.
There's 2 different sponsors.
Yeah, there's 2 different ones. And then
it used to be the Outback Bowl too. They changed the name of that one.
Yeah, I was about to say they changed the
Outback.
I
don't even know what it is now. Dude, that's been a classic since I was fucking born. The Outback Bowl was fucking gone.
Like a blooming onion, man.
That's really disappointing that they would change the name of the Outback.
Another one.
I mean, for real though, like I know that doesn't even sound right, but like that's like a staple of bowl season. Outback Bowl on New Year's Day.
The Outback Bowl is absolutely.
It's like the 3rd best Big Ten team versus the 3rd best SEC team.
Exactly. And then there was one that just literally caught me off guard. Jimmy Fallon has a bowl game.
I did. That's
I
isn't that new
saw
this
that.
year?
That's wild. Yeah, I think this is the first year.
Barstool Sports. Barstool has a bowl
Barstool.
game too. I didn't
Barstool
even
has
know
one
that.
too.
Who's playing in the
It's,
Barstool Bowl?
Ohio
and Wyoming. The Barstool Sports.
Oh
That's the
my
most
God.
Barstool game I've ever heard.
Man,
That is.
that's the thing. You got money, man. You could get anything in life. Jimmy
Right, money
Fallon
buys
literally
anything.
fucking bowl game. That's crazy though. But the Verbo Fiesta Bowl Saturday 4 p.m. on ESPN features Max Duggan, who was in New York for the Heisman ceremony. Obviously didn't win it. Playing against J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan Wolverines. Just give me a little brief, preview summary, whatever the hell you want to call it. Kris, I'll go with you first. Just what's the writing on this game?
I'm really interested because TCU is one of the more explosive offenses in the country, and that's one of the things that's really tough to account for when you look at like data. I know Vegas has this, I believe, at a 7-point or 7.5-point game, which I think is also interesting. But the big thing I'll be looking for is Quentin Johnson versus DJ Turner, or Quentin Johnson versus Will Johnson, because I keep seeing and hearing that Michigan people love what Will's been doing, and this is a game that Michigan should win, but it's dangerous because TCU and Max Duggan are dangerous because they do things that are a little bit unconventional. And he's a true gunslinger. So when you get games with like true gunslingers, there are times where like that 50-50 ball, you throw up 5 or 6 of those. If QJ comes down with 4 or 5 of them, then it's like, oh, you're looking at what could be a strange, odd game. And that's kind of how most TCU games went this year. The big thing, though, is I don't think anybody can stop the Michigan run game, and I don't think TCU is big enough inside to do that. I think that really they benefited from not having to play too many physical teams. When they encountered a physical team in Kansas State, the first time Kansas State should have beat them until Adrian Martinez went down. And the second time, Kansas State did beat them with a backup quarterback and Deuce Vaughn going nuts. So it is an interesting game. But again, like I'm just curious to see what Jesse Minter does, because the second half adjustments from him all year, nobody scored double digits in the second half against Jesse Minter. So he's been really good on defense, really good at adjusting, and we'll see if he can keep that up. So really, I mean, this is kind of a battle for me, at least, like separating from the teams, a battle of 2 young big-time coordinators, because Garrett Riley is going to be the next Cliff Kingsbury. Like, he's going to be that style coordinator. He's going to be revered like that. And Jesse Minter is going to be maybe the next Jeff Hafley, maybe one and done, maybe go somewhere else. So I'm really excited to kind of see their progressions as young rising stars in the coaching world. One from air raid, one from true NFL personnel, style matching defense. And that's kind of where I'm at. But I do expect Michigan to go ahead and win that semifinal game.
Yeah, I'd say, that's probably, we don't even need to allude to any picks or anything like that. We don't even need to do any of that. I think we all kind of think that's what's going to happen. But I'll go over to Matt. How do you think TCU, performance-wise on Saturday, is going to rebound from losing their last game being against Kansas State? What do you think the offense is going to look like against Michigan?
I think they're going to score. They're going to be able to score points. I think it's going to be a very, very good game, actually. I think, I'm not going to give away my pick yet or anything, but I think it's going to come down to the wire. I really do. I think Max Duggan is just like a street baller, dude. He's just a street baller that just is tough as shit, and I kind of wish CJ had a little bit more of that in him. But he's able to run. He can run. He puts his team on his back, man. Plays gutsy. I think he's going to keep him in it. I really do. I think their offense is going to have some success against Michigan. I do.
Yeah. And Matt, actually, Kris kind of already alluded with the Michigan pick. What's your pick for this game?
I think TCU wins. I do. I think TCU pulls the upset.
Oh, okay.
I do. I think Max Duggan puts him on his back and takes him to the promised land. I really do. I hope Michigan wins. Crazy for me to say that. I'm going to be rooting for Michigan because obviously I want a chance. But, I want the rematch. But I think TCU wins this game.
All right. Very confidently said right there, Matt. Love it. Now, Brady, the other quarterback for Michigan, J.J. McCarthy. Well, what does a good game or a stat line from J.J. McCarthy look like? Obviously, it's from different levels, like a guy like a Max Duggan, his stat line, or, plays in a game, production, or C.J. Stroud or whatever. But what does a good game and even a stat line look like from J.J. McCarthy? And then after that, give me your pick.
Well, apparently it's 12 for 24 for 224 yards and 3 touchdowns.
50%. Wow, good shit.
Apparently that's a good stat line that it takes. But in terms of that, like, I think that he needs to – I don't think TCU is going to play as aggressive as we did, so I don't expect those massive plays. But, I mean, every time I think about all those times we stopped, all those great plays we made, wrapping them up with the line of scrimmage, breaking up passes just to let up 5 huge plays, just gets me every time I think about it.
Don't hurt yourself.
But I say 65% maybe for him this game. He's got to up that because they'll play soft compared to soft coverage compared to us. And I think they'll be more of a running team this game anyways. Their bigger plays will come in the run. But I also think this is a great game. I think this is a lot. People aren't giving TCU as much of a chance as you would think. And I actually have a TCU colored poker chip right here that I just randomly saw, so I wanted to grab it. But I think that TCU, like Kris said, if QJ can get rolling, they're pretty unstoppable on offense. Like, it'll be a 3rd and 10. You chuck him up a deep ball if it's one-on-one coverage. There's not many corners that can stop it. So, very excited to watch that matchup. And for me, I don't know who I want to win yet. If we lose, I want Michigan to lose. But if we win, I want Michigan to win. So if we don't win, nothing for either. But I will certainly take the rematch if we can beat Georgia and they can beat TCU. But I do think that this is a great game, and I'm excited to watch the two quarterbacks duel it out. JJ McCarthy and Max Duggan. Or Max Duggan.
Mad Max.
I like Max a lot more than JJ, by the way. Just wanted to state that out there. I just think he's a better quarterback. I think he's less, annoying. JJ kind of annoys me when he, does that little smile he does, and
JJ's he's kind of a bitch, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. casually say it.
Exactly. But do you want my pick right now?
Yeah, give me the pick. Yeah, give me the pick.
So I'm actually gonna pick Michigan in this one, in a close one. I do think they pull it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if TCU won. So this isn't one I'm like extremely confident on, but I do think Michigan's going to go to the national title game, which I hate to say.
All right. So this game will kind of, get you on the edge of your seat a little bit. Watch that nice 4:00 game. Get you prepared for the nightcap that we were just talking about the entire show. Ohio State's playing Georgia, if you guys haven't gotten the memo yet. Literally in the tag right here. But, oh boy. Kris, I'll start with you again, all right? What's your pick on, the start of the week? What's your pick for this game?
Okay. Jeez. I've got Georgia by 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got Georgia right around 31 35 31 28 right in that realm. I think they're too much, and I don't think Ohio State can afford kind of what they've been doing all year, and that's the slow, sputtery starts. And the thing that concerns me about CJ Stroud is interior pressure, and I think that he's not nearly as good as he needs to be when there's interior pressure. So I'm like, for them to win this game, I think Marv has to take it over. But I don't have a ton of faith in DeJuan Jones not giving like at least 3 false starts. I don't have a ton of faith in the interior of that offensive line being able to, or CJ Stroud being comfortable behind the interior of that offensive line. I mean, I think it is a close game, but ultimately I think Georgia is too much. So.
Gotcha.
All right, Matt, what's your pick here?
I was hoping you were going to go to Brady first.
Do you want me to go to Brady first?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
I'll take it.
You got it.
I'm going to pick Georgia, 34-27. I think we'll be able to move the ball very well. I think we're not going to be able to score touchdowns in the red zone. I really do. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I told you what I think we need to do to win. There's 75% of the time around that number. I think it'll end up being probably like 20 or 30% of the time that we end up scoring touchdowns. So there you go.
Brady.
But I think it's going to be a great game.
Sad part of the show. This is so sad right here.
I think it's a 4-quarter game, and I will tell you this.
We all have a morning.
In my Ohio State fandom, probably since let's go to the playoff game in 2014. So from Alabama, from that game, I've probably thought we were going to lose 3 games going into it. Thinking, so I thought we were going to lose to Bama in 14. I thought we were going to lose to Bama in 20.
No.
And I thought we were going to lose to Georgia in this game. Every other game, I went into thinking we were going to win.
Well,
thinking we were the better team.
50-50.
50-50.
Let's see what happens.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. There's definitely a chance. Brady, what's the chances that Ohio State wins this game? And what's your pick? What's your pick? That's what I'm saying.
I'll go with Georgia. It's tough to pick them. I'm going to go with Georgia too, and I think it's also going to be a great game. Which usually I don't like to lose in great games because it makes me depressed. But right now,
that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. For my sanity, for my feelings, I would almost rather just get my ass kicked. Because when we lost to Clemson in 19, it was the most heartbreaking shit ever. If we get our ass beat, when we got our ass beat 2016 2016 Clemson, 2020 Bama, it's almost like, okay, they were just the better fucking team. They were just a better fucking team. In 2019, you just look at all the small the fumble recovery for a touchdown that they didn't call, all the bullshit that could have just went our way. One thing goes our fucking way, we win the game. I hate feeling like that. But go ahead, Brady. Sorry.
Yeah, but right, that's what I want. So I'm gonna say I do think we'll lose close. I do want to lose close, even though it'll make me depressed, because it'll make the offseason more interesting if we lose close, because then we'll have more hope. Okay, we can hang with these guys more than we need to completely rebuild the
Absolutely. I think for the state of the program this time around, with losing to Michigan twice in a row, we got to keep this game close. We have to.
I agree. And so I'm going to go with a 3 to 4 point loss as well.
The fuck's this shit? I'm going with the Buckeyes, man. Fuck.
All right.
I'm going with the lone wolf here. Shoot.
All right. We'll take
optimism in this one. All right,
dude. But I will say this. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, I've gotten more optimistic. Since we got announced that we were playing them every week, I became more optimistic about it. So who's to say Friday night I might be saying fuck it, the Buckeyes are going to fucking win. You never know. You know what I'm saying? It just might change.
It could change. You know what I'm saying? Obviously it's the start of the week, and stuff could obviously happen before the game, or your mind can kind of go one way or another, and stuff can change. Right now I'm riding off the optimism train. One, because my other team, the Bengals, won 7 in a row, so why not have a little more optimism? I think we're going to win. Obviously, it's going to be a hell of a game. So my one friend, his name's Connor. He watches the show quite a bit. Thanks, Connor Jackson, for watching the show all the time. He gave me a pick, actually. He said it's going to be 35-28 Ohio State in this one. I'm just going to roll with that pick with him,
I would love that because I think it's got to be that kind of score where it's all touchdowns. It's got to be all touchdowns because we're not going to fucking win. We're not – I've really been – shocked at how badly we've been able to run the ball in the red zone this year. I thought it was going to be way better because the problem is we've got one guy that can beat man coverage consistently, and if you can't run the ball in the red zone, you damn sure better be able to beat man coverage with your other receivers on the outside. And to only be able to do that with one guy consistently, it really fucks you've got to be able to man up and run the ball inside the 20. You have to.
That's that right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's going to be some missed kicks, and I think it's just going to all be touchdowns. I got Ohio State winning, though. I think we're all optimistic that Ohio State can win this game.
I am 100%. It's not. Yeah. This is going to be a great game. I believe, for the first time, maybe ever. I think both semifinals are going to be great games. I do.
Yeah.
I can't think of. I think this is the first time ever that I could say that. You know what I mean? Think of 2014, the Rose Bowl was a blowout. 2015, Bama killed whoever the hell they played. You know what I mean? So
don't bring up 2016. Stop there.
16, we got our ass beat. Like so.
Yeah,
I think both games are going to be great, and I think it's the first time you can say that for the playoff in the playoff history.
Yeah. Got that right. This should be pretty interesting. Saturday is going to be fun. All the bowl games leading up to Saturday will be fun to watch. Just the whole weekend of just some great college football setting up for Monday night, January 9th to be that pinnacle night in the sport of college football. Man, Kris, thanks for coming on again. We appreciate your time. Every time you're on this good podcast and everything, we appreciate it. Brady, Matt, we're back. This is the first episode we've done in like a month, I think. Yeah, it's like the first episode we've done in a month.
Hiatus.
So, yeah, of a month hiatus right there. A lot of things.
I've been missing. I've been moving and kind of on the road.
Nah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah, all good. Everybody take care of business, man. I do the finals. Brady had to do his thing at the school. Matt with the
UPS. Christmas season.
On that grind. And Kris moving. Shoot, I mean, everybody was doing their thing, but man. It's Buckeye week, man. We play Saturday.
It is Buckeye week. We're back, baby. We're back.
We're back. Going, game week.
Fuck Georgia. Right. Here we come.
Here we go. Here we come. We're on. Oh, man. With that being said, it's the end of our show. Catch us with more content coming your way. Got a lot more time on our hands. But, with that, we'll see you guys soon.
Yep. We'll see you guys.